It is the dawn of a new era in the Ultimate Fighting Championship as Ian McCall faces Demetrius Johnson in the first flyweight fight in UFC history. Considered by many to be the best flyweight in the world, Ian McCall has finally found a home at 125 pounds after competing against the best bantamweights for years. A three-fight alumnus of the WEC, McCall has won 4 in a row. A nice way to lead into his new career in the octagon as he stares across at Demetrius Johnson. Mighty Mouse soared to the #1 contender spot in 2011 with wins over Kid Yamamoto and Miguel Angel Torres. And while he lost a tough 5-rounder against Dominic Cruz in his October title fight, the flyweight division allows him to compete on a level playing field that makes him even more dangerous. Coming up next, it's the 125-pound tournament as Demetrius Johnson collides with Ian McCall. Our tale of the tape for the first flyweight fight in UFC history is see Demetrius Johnson, 2 years, Ian McCall's junior, 2 inches the height advantage for McCall, but it's a 2-inch reach advantage in the corner of Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in a UFC flyweight tournament bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a Muay Thai kickboxer holding a professional record, 11 wins with 2 losses, standing 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing in at 125 pounds, 56.7 kilos. Fighting out of Irvine, California, USA, Ian Uncle Creepy McCall. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a mixed martial artist, holding a professional record, 14 wins, 2 losses, standing 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 125 1/2 pounds, 56.9 kilos. Fighting out of Parkland, Washington, USA, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Leon Roberts.
Leon Roberts shares the cage for some UFC history here. Demetrius Johnson, Ian McCall.
Okay, you ready to fight? You ready to fight? Bring it on.
3 rounds and a 4th sudden victory round, if necessary, here as we kick off the UFC's 125-pound division.
Hey.
One of those things that's very difficult to prepare for when you're facing a guy like Demetrius Johnson is that speed. His speed is tremendous, and it all comes off of his footwork. Just probably the best in the UFC. I mean, he's non-stop moving. Gets in, gets out so well. And you can see in there, I mean, he's causing problems with his speed on Ian McCall already in this first round.
And Demetrius Johnson had quite a career at 135 pounds. McCall goes for the takedown and gets it. So the consensus best wrestler of our 4 flyweights tonight shows you why early.
Beautiful takedown from Ian McCall with that inside trip. Got high with the double unders. Went downstairs with that inside trip. And he has Demetrius Johnson in a bad position because his head is up against the cage, and now he's working from that half guard into the mount. Demetrius Johnson's gonna have to do some crafty defense here to get out of this position. Nice defense, has an underhook. Ian McCall doing a good job of putting Demetrius Johnson on his back, but it's Demetrius Johnson who turns the tables and now finds himself on top of Ian McCall.
Yeah, nice reversal there for Demetrius Johnson. In his previous 6 Zuffa appearances, 26 takedowns. So the takedown has been a big part of Demetrius Johnson's success in the UFC, and lands a big right hand coming in. Mixes in an elbow inside.
Demetrius Johnson has such good defense on the ground. We saw that against Miguel Torres, who had him mounted in some really bad positions, and he found a way to get up to his feet, and just a very tough guy too. He went through a broken foot that whole fight against Miguel Torres, and just shows how tough this kid is.
You know, some suggest Demetrious Johnson is the fastest fighter in mixed martial arts right now, but I think this division is going to show you a lot of guys whose styles really are predicated on speed, and once again, it's McCall in top position, moves into half guard.
Ian McCall has tremendous timing on his takedowns, and that's something that Demetrious Johnson is gonna have to adapt to, because McCall is making him pay as he goes forward now. He's taking away that speed advantage and starting to mix it up with his wrestling. The crazy thing about it is we have Demetrious Johnson coming down from 135 pounds. It looks like McCall is still the bigger guy out there.
Right. McCall, a former bantamweight himself, who only made his flyweight debut in 2011, but it was the manner in which McCall did it that led to him being the consensus #1 flyweight in the world, beating the previously #1 ranked 125er in the world in Juicy A. De Silva.
Imagine the respect if he's able to beat a guy like Demetrious Johnson. He's going to get a tremendous amount of respect amongst the hardcores out there, and he looks very comfortable this far, John. And
he's been a picture of poise and composure all week, very loose in advance of the UFC debut. Demetrious grabbing the single leg, and a big right hand lands.
Hit a very nice single leg on Ian McCall, and he decided to bail on it. Went upstairs with a punch, and that definitely rocked Ian McCall.
And this is the type of action you can expect in this new flyweight division.
Ian McCall doing a very good job of stopping the takedowns of Demetrious Johnson. We've seen him so dominant there. The only guy who really was able to stop those takedowns was Dominic Cruz, of course, the 135-pound champion, and Ian McCall showing some serious wrestling skills here.
Under a minute to go in the first round. The clock is going as fast as the fighters are.
Demetrious Johnson definitely has a high volume striking style. Very dynamic, very diverse with his striking. Ian McCall really tries to set up his power shots. Nice kick upstairs from Demetrious Johnson.
Crowd enjoyed it, but McCall appeared to check that high kick.
Both these fighters are trying to find their range here. Getting used to the speed and styles of their opponents. Beautiful job by Demetrious Johnson. Wasn't successful with that single leg, but it was that right hand that rocked Ian McCall. You could see him. His legs kind of almost went from underneath him, and he turned away and had a lot more respect for Demetrious Johnson's power after that shot.
Double legs, not single legs. Double legs, not single. You will take him down with a double.
So that right hand for Demetrious Johnson, certainly the most significant strike of the first 5 minutes. And an interesting message there from Matt Hume. Demetrious Johnson at times pursuing that single leg. Hume calling for the double.
Yeah, you know, Ian McCall has tremendous balance on that single leg. He's countering very well, but if you get deep on a double leg takedown, it's almost impossible to counter. And some very good advice from Matt Hume to go for that double leg against Ian McCall.
And once again, on the heels of that single, the big right hand for Johnson.
Ian McCall's combination seemed to have back up Demetrious Johnson. McCall showing some great defensive wrestling here, and making Demetrious pay every single time with that single leg. And you know, the reason he's getting that single leg, it's a little bit easier to time. That double leg takedown, you have to penetrate so much better. Your timing has to be that much better, and you know, easier said than done to go for a double as opposed to a single. Demetrious is going to have to really get McCall to respect the hands, and he's going to have to level change very quickly and try to get McCall as he's coming forward. That's the best time to try to go for that double leg.
McCall continues to pepper that lead leg of Demetrious Johnson. And you see with those scrambles, it always seems to be Johnson landing with that right hand.
Yeah, he's doing a great job off the break of coming with several punches, not just one shot, John. He's coming with a series of punches.
These significant strikes starting to pile up for Demetrious Johnson, who landed more significant strikes in all of his UFC and WEC fights, including
Oh, time.
His title fight against
Over there.
Dominic Cruz.
Come over here. You got 5 minutes. I'm on your time, yeah? Right there for me, you got 5 minutes.
McCall tried to go for an inside leg kick, but went upstairs a little bit.
And that wasn't intentional, but you are in control of your strikes.
Accidental groin shot there.
Be careful where you place them. Stay there for me. You good to go? Timekeeper,
McCall
ready?
apologizing.
Sure you ready?
Looks like
Fight.
DJ's good to go.
And you see the comfort level for Ian McCall at this weight class. You know, that would be an advantage, the fact that he had 3 fights in the flyweight division in 2011, and as we mentioned, Johnson fighting at $125 for the first time.
Definitely looks very comfortable in there. Looks to be the bigger guy in there at 125 pounds. And just the speed advantage that Demetrious Johnson has. I mean, here he is coming down in weight class, and he's still the faster guy. Another thing that's very tricky when you're facing a guy like Demetrious Johnson is his ability to switch from orthodox to southpaw. Can definitely be very confusing for a guy like Ian McCall, who's trying to land his combinations.
Shorter combos, don't overextend.
So we passed the midpoint here in the second round of the first flyweight fight in UFC history, Demetrious Johnson and Ian McCall, and both fighters trying to get the better of those close exchanges in what has been a back and forth fight to this point.
Yeah, for the most part, looks like Ian McCall has a little bit more power than Demetrious Johnson. Johnson, of course, using that speed and high volume boxing style, but McCall, when he hits hard. You could see it every time Demetrious Johnson gets hit with a shot. He's backing up, certainly respects that power. And they've had some great combinations.
And you're starting to see some blood there out of the mouth of Demetrious Johnson.
Yeah, now we're seeing Ian McCall go back to his wrestling, which was very successful for him in the first round. Johnson now trying to change levels and go for a double up against the cage, and McCall makes him pay with some very nice knees from that tie plum.
And both fighters exchange elbows, and they're enjoying it.
Just non-stop action. This is what you get when you have two of the best flyweights in the world going at it.
And there is no question about it. The 4 best flyweights in the world coming your way tonight here at UFC Fight Night on FX. This is our first semifinal. Later it'll be Joseph Benavidez, Yasuhiro Arishitani.
Nice kick from Demetrious Johnson going upstairs. McCall trying to get something going with his wrestling, as they're exchanging some dirty boxing in the clinch. Nice body kick.
And follows it up with a left hand. So just what I was gonna say, the canvas not really needed here in round 2. They briefly hit the mat.
Yep, that inside trip. Ian McCall was able to hit it again, but wasn't able to really do anything with it. Johnson now pressuring McCall up against the cage.
Last 10, James, last 10.
Definitely felt like Demetrious was more successful this round with his striking, was able to avoid the takedowns of McCall and land some very good combos.
This round, Ian, this round is your round. Come on.
It is
ready
the
to fight?
inaugural
You ready to fight?
flyweight
Bring it on.
tournament. Demetrious Johnson, Ian McCall. 2 rounds down in what has been a very close fight. We remind you, a sudden victory round is available if necessary.
The corner of Ian McCall was urging him to get back to his wrestling, try to seal the deal with some takedowns in this 3rd round, much like he did in the first, and wasn't really able to get those takedowns going in that 2nd round. But that speed of Demetrious Johnson, it's very hard to time him. He's in, he's out, he's side to side, he's all over the place. Very hard to time a guy like that who's so dynamic.
So the action continues.
You gotta protect yourself at all times. Ian McCall thought he got hit a little bit low there, and referee didn't stop the action, and you got to make sure you keep your hands up.
So both guys have had their moments in the stand-up game. You feel like a takedown on either side could really have an impact as far as the judges' scorecards are concerned. Johnson mixes in a nice shoulder strike.
Nice little knee from Demetrius Johnson, but that allows Ian McCall to finish a takedown here. And trying to work some ground and pound now is Ian McCall.
And McCall moves into a dominant position. You see there, the takedown story is 3-0 for McCall. So Johnson, throughout his UFC career and WEC career, has been on the better side of that takedown situation.
Yep, Ian's got to be careful with that underhook. Demetrius Johnson is able to get that right underhook, and that's what's allowing him to get back to the guard or get back to his feet there, and Ian McCall has to be aware of that. But it was a nice takedown, landed some decent ground and pound, but Demetrius Johnson's defense, very, very good from his back.
Right now.
So another point scorer there for Ian McCall with the slam.
Beautiful suplex from Ian McCall. Great timing on that takedown. The action right in front of us, and now he has the back of Demetrius Johnson. Johnson in some serious trouble now as he's stretched out. Ian McCall really putting the pressure on now with some very good ground and pound.
McCall piling up these significant strikes. Demetrius Johnson has never been finished. He's never even been knocked down in his MMA career.
Now Demetrius Johnson trying to get out of that back mount of Ian McCall. Ian McCall really controlling the action now on the ground. This was a huge momentum shift for him in this fight and in this round. Now working across his cross wrist here is Ian McCall, trying to keep Demetrius Johnson on the mat. Very good balance from DJ. And they're back to their feet. Great action.
And the crowd enjoying it. 90 seconds left, most likely, here in the first flyweight fight in UFC history.
You can see Demetrius Johnson now bleeding out of his lip. Ian McCall landed some very clean shots from that back mount. Nice teep from Demetrius Johnson. Very nice counter from DJ to stop that double leg, but Ian McCall trying to work a guillotine. He bails on the front headlock, goes to the back, and Demetrius Johnson in a half guard now.
And Ian McCall executing his corner's message really to perfection here in the third round. They thought the takedown was a necessary point score, and now he hops into full mount.
He's in the full mount, John, and really putting an exclamation mark on this third round. Starting to work some shots to the head and body of Demetrius Johnson. Really showing his dominance on the mat. Landing some big shots, and they may stop this if Demetrius Johnson isn't careful. He's eating some big shots here. Ian McCall is fired up.
Yeah, playing to the crowd a little bit. He's very close to the finish here. So the horn sounds on the first flyweight fight in UFC history, and Ian McCall thinks he's done enough for the victory. Certainly plenty left in the tank. What a fight.
What a fantastic fight. These guys really went at it on the feet. On the mat, these guys were non-stop. Great action from these flyweights.
So Ian McCall makes his UFC debut here against Demetrius Johnson. The official decision is next. It's UFC Fight Night. John Anna, Kenny Florian with you here in Sydney, Australia. UFC Fight Night. All right, so there will not be a need for a sudden victory round. 3 rounds will be enough to determine the first flyweight result in UFC history. The decision is inside the octagon. It resides with Bruce Buffer.
UGCTT, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. The judges score this contest 29-28, McCall, 29-28, Johnson, and 29-28 for the winner by majority decision, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson.
All right, Sydney, I am here with your winner, Demetrius Johnson. Obviously, the crowd not liking the decision. It went to the judges' scorecards. Did you think you did enough to win the fight?
Yeah, first off, I gotta get it off to Ian McCall. You know, I felt I won the first 2 rounds, and the last round he came on and put it on me, so my hat's off to him, but I thought I won the first 2 rounds with control, stand-up, and takedowns.
You had never been finished in your UFC or mixed martial arts career. How close were you to being finished there in the 3rd?
I wasn't close getting finished. I kept on pushing through. I know I had the first 2 rounds in the bag, and I just kept on moving. I gave the jump thumbs up, say, hey, you know, I'm okay. These punches don't hurt. He's making it, you know, a clown out of himself, like he's running like a donkey, but I wasn't out, man.
All right, well, congratulations. Moving on to fight for the UFC flyweight title, Demetrius Johnson.